gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shout Around? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
After the suspect.
At 10, we're hearing from the family of a man murdered in Sandy Springs after his alleged killer turned the gun on himself. The 28-year-old victim, Michael Williams, was a father of 3.
After the suspect fled to Chicago, he was accused of killing again, this time a teenage girl. Fox 5's Rob Durienzo spoke with Williams' family.
Yeah, well, this was the last thing loved ones of 28-year-old Michael Williams expected to find out. His body was found in a car in Sandy Springs back in January. After the suspect, Kemet Campbell, fled to Chicago, police there say he killed again.
He lived a happy life.
Damn, and I told you guys, I mean, you have these implants from Chicago, and I mean, these guys, they're going back and forth from Atlanta to Chicago, Chicago to Atlanta, and they're wreaking havoc. They don't care. They will delete anybody who they feel is a threat to them or feel like they've been slighted in a way. And you know, you don't even have to slight them. They'll just delete you for the hell of it, for the sport of it. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Right. He wanted to be a dad. He just had a newborn baby.
Michael Williams leaves behind 3 kids in this world. His family has waited for justice since a jogger found his body in his car at the end of January. Investigators identified the suspect as Kemet Campbell. They believe it was a robbery. Police say Campbell forced Williams into his own car and made him drive to Peachtree Dunwoody Road, where he shot him.
There was a
And I mean, this is how a lot of these super gremlins are moving. Robbing you, then deleting you, even if you give it up. This is par for the course, so you might as well fight. You might as well fight because they're going to kill you anyway.
solo warrant out for his arrest. They tracked him to Chicago.
But police there were not able to catch him, as his mom and his sister have been trying to play detective themselves. Last week, his sister got a Facebook message.
Hi, my niece just got killed by the same guy who killed your brother.
Chicago PD says that victim was a 19-year-old woman. Days later, earlier this week, Sandy Springs police got word that Campbell turned the gun on himself and ended his own life.
Well, I mean, I guess the hard part is over, right? So he ends up deleting himself after taking these 2 people's lives. I told you guys, men, women, children, it doesn't matter. These super gremlins are demon time. However, we don't consider this a form of justice. We would have much rather let him go through the criminal justice system, be convicted, and serve the rest of his life as a slave to the prison industrial complex. That sounds like a more favorable destination for this type of guy, just because of all the pain that he's caused. But the sad part is, this is just one of many in the city of Atlanta, and I mean it's almost nonstop.
Williams' family is left to wonder why he got away, being so bold as to allegedly kill again.
You still took another person's life in the midst of being on a run as a suspect for another person's murder.
Sandy Springs investigators say with Campbell's death, the case is effectively closed. Meanwhile, Williams' mom says although this is a form of justice for her, she still has a lot of questions about why her son's life was taken that will never be answered.
And I just want to kind of give my insight. It doesn't matter why. You know, sometimes we need to just come to the conclusion that there is no reason why the super gremlins do what they do. They just do.
In a way, I did want to meet him face to face, just to know why. So those questions are still going to be in the back of my head for the as long as I live now, because I don't have those answers. But I feel justice has been served.
In Sandy Springs, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
The great nephew of legendary jazz artist Nat King Cole in Northwest Atlanta yesterday.
31-year-old Tracy Cole was stabbed multiple times. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes, is live near the crime scene on Centennial Olympic Park Drive. And
okay, so I don't think you guys caught that. This is the great nephew of the world-renowned, famous blues singer, jazz singer, Nat King Cole. You know, we have an issue in Atlanta, okay? We have a murder issue in the community, in the black community. And this is extremely big news that is not being reported nationally. It's a local story. But Nat King Cole, he historically one of the greatest musicians that this country's ever seen, and big in pushing the blues movement forward, especially for black men. And fast forward 50, 60 years, and his son, or his great nephew, is being deleted. Well, it's probably more time than that, maybe 70, 80 years, but you get the point. The people who fought for the rights, and specifically the civil rights of the people today, what is their reward when their seed are being taken out by these super gremlins on demon time?
Deidre, you spoke to the victims' loved ones.
And everyone we talked to said that Tracy Cole was the kind of person who really just lit up a room, that he never met a stranger, made friends wherever he went. They simply can't believe he's gone.
Tracy had that personality that just really transcended, culture. It transcended race. It transcended class. Tracy made a friend of everyone.
Tracy Cole's life came to a tragic end Thursday morning. The 31-year-old was stabbed multiple times at around 2 a.m. here on the 300 block of Centennial Olympic Park Drive. Medics rushed him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The Atlanta native was born into a legendary musical family. He was the great nephew of jazz singer Nat King Cole and traveled the world with his late grandfather, jazz great Freddie Cole.
His travels with his grandfather, they've traveled around the world together, and so people know Tracy everywhere.
And, this brother Tracy, he obviously was heavily involved in the church. And we know the black church has sold out to the Democratic Party, which pretty much gives us somebody to blame for all of this extreme violence in the community. So this again is a situation of black men, black women, black children. Well, children can't vote, but black people in general getting what they vote for. And this is an unfortunate situation, but I do think it's important for black conservatives, white conservatives, any conservative for that matter, Hispanic conservatives. Y'all know I rock with the burrito homies. Guys, it's important for us to find these situations and I hate to say it, but it's important for us to be the I told you so ninjas, okay? We're going to have to be the I told you so ones because nobody else is speaking up about this. We're obviously shadow banned, demonetized, and censored on all platforms. So we're going to have to, in every example, where we perceive that an individual voted blue, we're gonna have to say, hey man, you voted for this, I told you so. My condolences, but hey, let's be real about it.
The Cole family are longtime members of Cascade United Methodist Church in Atlanta. Senior pastor Kevin Muriel shared fond memories of the young man who was larger than life.
He was family, and he was more than, just a young man in the community. He was, that child who walked the floors and the aisles of the church. He, just always brought with him an abundance of joy everywhere he went.
Cole was a fixture in the Atlanta cigar community and most recently worked at the Cigar City Club in Sandy Springs. The group held a virtual vigil in Cole's honor Thursday night as police continue the search for his killer.
We've got to come together and stop this violence because so many.
It's not going to happen, big dog. And, that's why I'm pushing the No Solutions movement, KNOW Solutions. Hashtag that, because unless we address this issue, which the black community is 100% not ready to address this issue at all. I don't see us really saying, okay, yeah, we do have a murder problem in the black community. I don't see it for another 20, 50 years, honestly. I don't even think I'll be alive when the black community comes and gets real candid and honest about our murder issues, the bloodlust in the community. I don't think we'll ever be honest about that. Not in my lifetime, at least.
Many of our young men and women are being taken far too soon. He had so much more ahead of him and was doing wonderful things. And again, we're just heartbroken by this.
Just a devastating loss for all who knew and loved him. Anyone with information in this case is urged to contact Atlanta Police. In Northwest Atlanta, Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
The search continues for a suspect in Thursday's deadly stabbing in Northwest Atlanta. Fox 5 has learned the victim, 31-year-old Terry Cole, is the great nephew of legendary jazz artist Nat King Cole. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live near the crime scene. Deidre, a lot of folks are taking his death hard.
Yeah, we're told that Cole was the kind of person who lit up a room, that he never met a stranger. So those who knew and loved him, as you might imagine, are taking his death very hard.
Tracy had that personality that just really transcended, culture. It transcended race. It transcended class. Tracy made a friend of everyone.
Tracy Cole's life came to a tragic end Thursday morning. The 31-year-old was stabbed multiple times at around 2 a.m. here on the 300 block of Centennial Olympic Park Drive. Medics rushed him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
The Atlanta native was born into a legendary musical family. He was the great nephew of jazz singer Nat King Cole and traveled the world with his late grandfather, jazz great Freddie Cole.
His travels with his grandfather, they've traveled around the world together, and so people know Tracy everywhere.
The Cole family are longtime members of Cascade United Methodist Church in Atlanta. Senior pastor Kevin.
And I know that funeral's gonna go up, but why do we continue to have to do these funerals, these balloon releases? All of this, it's so repetitive, and the black community, we have completely failed on addressing this issue. And there's just so much cognitive dissonance. And, when you try and explain this to black men and women alike, they are apprehensive to admitting this when it's so obvious, it's so in your face, it's so plain as day, and we have so many good brothers, okay, who are falling victim to these super gremlins, on Demon Time.
Muriel shared fond memories of the young man who was larger than life.
He was family, and he was more than, just a young man in the community. He was, that child who walked the floors and the aisles of the church. He, just always brought with him an abundance of joy everywhere he went.
Cole was a fixture in the Atlanta cigar community and most recently worked at the Cigar City Club in Sandy Springs. The group held a virtual vigil in Cole's honor Thursday night as police continue the search for his killer.
We've got to come together and stop this violence because so many of our young men and women are being taken far too soon. He had so much more ahead of him and was doing.
But, he's talking about stopping the violence, but I guarantee he pushed defund the police. I guarantee he pushed BLM. The church is one of the main political arms of the black community. Even though people say, oh, well, black people turn their back on the church. Yeah, but they're still the ones who tell you who to vote for. Whether you like it or not. Look at Reverend Al Sharpton. Okay? Jesse Jackson. All these guys, they're going to tell you who to vote for. And black women and black men will blindly vote for whoever they're told to by their pastors or, church leaders or clergy, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to continue to suffer the same fate. I don't see a silver lining. I do definitely send my condolences to the Cole family, but this doesn't move the needle. It doesn't. It's not a big deal to black people. They're gonna be like, oh, that nerdy, da da da. I'm telling you, that's what. Maybe if he was a street ninja who had 30 bodies and died in a hail of bullets, or died in prison in a prison shanking or something, then the black community would come out in droves. But for a descendant of a blues and jazz great, a household name in the 50s, like I said, it's not going to be much to go off of there in the black community. Yes, these few church members who knew him personally, obviously they care, his family cares. Black people in general, we don't care.
Doing wonderful things, and again, we're just heartbroken by this.
And tributes continue to pour in on social media tonight. Coming up, all new at 5, we talk to some of his friends who were touched by this tragedy. They share their fond memories. That's all new at 5. In Northwest Atlanta, Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
All right, Deidre, we'll see you in the next hour.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.